They called me crazy, told by Daria. They say every story has two sides. But mine has three: the truth, the lies, and the silence in between. And for years, no one wanted to hear my side. Not when I told them he stole from me. Not when I cried in court. Not even when they locked me in that white-walled prison and threw away the key. But let's go back. It started the day after my father's funeral. The air in our house still smelled like burnt roses and cigarette ash. Mourners had cleared out. The grieving masks were off. And I sat across from Reza, my boyfriend of 5 years, my supposed soulmate, as he read over my father's will. "It's all yours," he said, lips curling at the corners. "Everything." Something in his voice didn't sit right. My father had left me the house, his rare book collection, some cash. But the numbers didn't add up. There had been more. A lot more. I knew because I had handled my father's paperwork the last year of his life, after the cancer took his strength. He was meticulous. Nothing was ever unaccounted for. But suddenly, hundreds of thousands were missing from his offshore account. Art pieces, gone. The safe in the library? Open. Empty. I asked Reza about it. He blinked once. "Are you okay, Daria?" I asked again. He laughed. That night, I searched his study. Found forged emails. Withdrawals in his name. Password resets. My father had trusted him as a temporary financial advisor while sick. He had drained him dry. I confronted him. He didn't deny it. "Prove it," he said calmly. "And even if you try, who's going to believe you?" Turns out, no one. I took it to my mother. My sisters. My uncles. They all told me I was grieving, imagining things. They called Reza sweet. Reliable. Supportive. Then came the worst betrayal. My sister Farah told them I'd stopped taking my anxiety meds. That I'd lashed out at Reza before. That I had delusions during high stress. It was like watching my life collapse in slow motion. 2 days later, my mother and Reza staged an intervention. I was taken to a private psychiatric clinic. Involuntary hold. Evaluation. Surveillance. The whole time, I begged them to check the bank records, the emails, the signatures. No one listened. For 32 days, I sat in that white room, listening to the same questions over and over. Why are you angry? Why do you think your family would lie? Are you feeling paranoid today? And I gave them what they wanted, silence. Because I was done speaking. But inside, I was building something far bigger than my pain. I was documenting everything I remembered. Every password. Every transaction. Every document. Every name. I even memorized voice patterns. Mannerisms. Studied surveillance footage of how Reza presented himself publicly versus privately. I began to see the pattern. He was a manipulator of the highest order, charming in public, controlling in private, and devastating when challenged. And on the 33rd day, I escaped. Not with a dramatic breakout. No. With a lawyer. Her name was Mitra. She was sharp, young, and had once been institutionalized after her assault case was dismissed. She believed me before she saw the evidence. We got out. We got my records. And we built a case. But I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I disappeared. Changed my name. Took a new job under the table. Rented a room with cash. Spent a year gathering proof. Quietly. Legally. Met with an offshore accountant. Recovered deleted emails. Retrieved an old hard drive Reza thought he destroyed. And while they thought I was lost, broken, sick, I was preparing. I got a job as a night cleaner at a small law firm. Boring. Quiet. Perfect. By day, I read. Studied. Taught myself forensic accounting. I watched seminars online, read law blogs, trained myself to understand every crack in the system Reza had used. It became my obsession. I would go entire days without speaking. Some of the other tenants in the old apartment building called me the ghost girl. I didn't care. I wasn't there to be liked. I was there to become someone they could never erase. I hacked into old email accounts, traced wire transfers, found that Reza had created dummy corporations in Dubai, Cyprus, and Luxembourg. He was laundering the estate assets through fake shell companies. It was bigger than just theft. It was criminal enterprise. I tracked an old friend of my father's, an art historian, who confirmed 3 missing paintings were now listed under a private collection in Zurich. The gallery owner refused to cooperate. So I made the gallery public. I sent files, anonymously, to journalists. I built a Dropbox folder full of documents, cross-referenced signatures, invoices, phone logs. I was methodical, cold, ruthless. I built a fake identity, rented a car, traveled to conferences pretending to be an assistant to an investor. I learned how wealthy men talked, how they moved funds, how they bragged carelessly when they thought you were no one. One of Reza's shell companies was linked to a nightclub in Istanbul, another to a casino in Montenegro. I followed the money trail. In both cases, more stolen wealth hidden under layers of false names and offshore protection. At one point, I posed as an intern for a consulting firm handling Reza's shell company audits. They never suspected I was feeding data to a forensic audit firm in Germany. I created a map, each string, each pin, each transfer. Then I started leaving breadcrumbs. Emails leaked. Anonymous tips. Encrypted packages to journalists, financial regulators, and tax authorities. It was war, and my weapon was patience. I watched a reporter from Paris get detained for refusing to reveal her source. She didn't crack. Within weeks, 3 international publications were running stories on ghost estates and illicit inheritance networks. And then one day, I made the first mistake in over a year. I visited my sister's workplace in disguise, just to see. She looked older, tired. Guilt has a way of aging people. She didn't see me, but I saw her. And I realized something important. I wasn't doing this for them anymore. I wasn't even doing it for my father. I was doing it for me. For the woman they tried to erase. For the girl they called crazy. One morning, I anonymously leaked financial records to a reporter. A week later, I had a meeting with a forensic auditor. Then a court petition. By the time I filed the fraud lawsuit, the story had already gone viral. Everyone saw it. My mother. My sisters. Reza. The boy who smiled while stealing from a dying man. He was arrested 2 weeks later for tax evasion and embezzlement. The trial took months. They tried to dig up my mental health record. But we'd built a wall of facts so high, their lies couldn't climb it. In the courtroom, I said nothing. I let the truth speak. The judge awarded me everything. Reza's accounts. My father's stolen assets. The house back. But I didn't take it. Instead, I donated the entire estate to a foundation for women silenced by institutions. I kept only one thing, my father's watch. As for my family? My mother wrote me a letter. We didn't know. I never replied. Not because I'm cruel, but because forgiveness without accountability is just weakness in disguise. I live quietly now. I changed my name again. Work for a human rights org. Travel. Write. They called me crazy. But I turned silence into power. And now, they only whisper my name.